Have you ever noticed something strange? Some people spend their entire lives climbing faster, working harder, sacrificing sleep, sacrificing peace, sacrificing themselves. And then one day, they arrive, only to realize they climbed the wrong mountain. And maybe the hardest truth in life is this: most people don't lose because they are weak. They lose because they never understood the game they were playing. And most leaders, they don't even know the game they're in. Think about that for a second. Imagine stepping onto a football field, but believing you're playing chess. Every move would confuse you. Every loss would feel personal. Every challenge would feel unfair. Not because life is against you, but because you misunderstood the rules. And I think this is happening everywhere, in workplaces, in relationships, in families, inside our own minds. People wake up every morning exhausted, not because they are lazy, not because they lack ambition, but because deep down, they are trying to win a game they never consciously chose. And maybe that includes you. Maybe somewhere along the way, someone handed you a definition of success, a title, a salary, a number in a bank account, a bigger house, more followers, more applause. And nobody stopped to ask an uncomfortable question. What happens when you get it? Because achievement without meaning is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. You can be successful and still feel lost. You can have status and still feel empty. Because success without purpose feels strangely hollow, like eating when you're not actually hungry. It fills something, but not the thing that matters. And this is where many leaders quietly suffer. They become experts at performing confidence, experts at pretending certainty, experts at looking strong. But internally, they are exhausted, afraid, disconnected, because no one taught them something essential. Leadership was never supposed to be about winning. It was supposed to be about protecting. Somewhere along the way, we confused leadership with authority. But authority and leadership are not the same thing. A title gives you authority. Leadership, people give that to you. Trust gives you that. Consistency gives you that. The willingness to carry responsibility gives you that. Because real leadership begins the moment people feel safe around you. Not impressed, safe. That changes everything. Think about the best teacher you ever had, or someone who changed your life. Maybe they weren't the smartest, maybe they weren't the loudest, but somehow you trusted them. Why? Because they made you feel seen, they listened, they understood your fear, they believed in you before you believed in yourself. That's leadership. And the strange thing is, many people spend years trying to become powerful, when what people actually need is someone who makes them feel safe. Safe enough to grow, safe enough to fail, safe enough to tell the truth. Because fear changes people. Fear makes people hide. Fear makes people defensive. Fear makes people selfish. Fear makes people protect themselves instead of each other. And when fear becomes the culture, people stop caring, not because they are bad people, because survival mode changes human behavior. Look around. How many people are silently struggling? Smiling in meetings, posting confidence online, acting like everything is fine, but quietly wondering, why do I feel so empty? Why am I trying so hard? Why does success still feel heavy? Maybe because deep down, you know something doesn't fit. Maybe your soul has been whispering something for years. This isn't it, but whispers are dangerous because whispers force honesty, and honesty can be terrifying, especially when your whole identity was built around a game everyone else told you to play. I once heard someone say, the hardest prison to escape is the one you don't know you're in. And isn't that true? Sometimes the prison isn't failure. Sometimes the prison is expectation. The expectation to look successful, to prove yourself, to keep achieving, to keep moving, to never stop. But where exactly are we rushing to? That question matters. Because speed becomes dangerous when direction is unclear. You can run fast and still run towards something meaningless. And maybe this is the real crisis happening today. Not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity, lack of meaning. People are starving for meaning. That's why burnout feels so common. Burnout isn't always about working too much. Sometimes burnout happens because your effort feels disconnected from purpose. Human beings can survive incredibly hard things when suffering has meaning. Parents sacrifice sleep for children. Athletes train through pain. Doctors work impossible hours. Why? Because purpose changes pain. Purpose makes sacrifice meaningful. Without purpose, even small struggles feel unbearable. And this is why so many leaders fail. Because they think leadership is about results. Results matter. Of course they matter. But results without trust eventually collapse. Results without humanity eventually destroy people. Results without purpose become addiction, more growth, more numbers, more pressure, more fear, until one day everyone is exhausted and nobody remembers why they started. That's not leadership. That's survival. And survival is not the same thing as living. You know what's fascinating? Children understand this better than adults. Watch a child play. What will people think? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? They simply engage. Curious, present, alive. Then somewhere along the way, fear enters, comparison enters, performance enters, and slowly we stop living from truth. We start living from approval. And approval is a dangerous addiction because no amount of external validation ever permanently heals internal doubt. Someone praises you, it feels good for a moment, then fear returns, you want more, another achievement, another compliment, another proof that you matter. But self-worth was never supposed to be rented from strangers. It has to come from somewhere deeper, something quieter, something more stable. The understanding that your value does not disappear when you fail, because failure is not the opposite of growth. Failure is often the price of growth. Think about how strange this is. We admire confidence, but confidence is usually born from discomfort. We admire wisdom, but wisdom usually comes from pain. We admire resilience, but resilience comes from struggle. Nobody develops strength in comfort. Growth asks something painful from all of us: patience, humility, discipline. And discipline is misunderstood. Most people think discipline means punishment, force, control. But real discipline, it's self-respect. It's waking up and saying, my future deserves consistency, even when motivation disappears, especially when motivation disappears. Because motivation is emotional. Discipline is identity. One changes with mood, the other changes your life. But there's another truth nobody talks about. Growth can feel lonely, really lonely. Because sometimes becoming who you are meant to be means disappointing people, outgrowing environments, leaving conversations that shrink you, walking away from approval. And that hurts. Because humans crave belonging. We want to be accepted. We want to be understood. But growth asks difficult questions. What are you willing to lose to become yourself? That question is uncomfortable because sometimes the answer includes certainty, comfort, old versions of yourself. But maybe that's necessary. Maybe becoming stronger was never about becoming harder. Maybe it's about becoming more honest, more grounded, more human. Maybe leadership starts there, not with influence, not with status, but with integrity, the courage to align who you are with how you live. Because people can feel authenticity. You don't have to announce it, they feel it, they trust it, and trust changes everything. Think about someone you deeply respect. Why do you respect them? Probably not because they were perfect. Probably because they were real, consistent, honest, steady during difficult moments. That kind of person feels rare today. Because we live in a world obsessed with appearance. Everyone is performing. Few people are connecting. And connection, real connection, might be the thing we need most. To feel understood, to know we matter, to know someone sees us beyond performance. Maybe that's why loneliness feels so heavy today. People are surrounded by noise. But starving for depth, starving for real conversation, real meaning, real honesty. And maybe leadership in its truest form is simply this: helping people feel less alone, helping them believe in themselves again, helping them remember who they are beneath fear. Because every person you meet is fighting invisible battles. The confident one, the successful one, the quiet one, the person smiling the most, everyone carries something: fear, doubt, pain, regret. And kindness matters more than we think. Patience matters more than we think. Listening matters more than we think. Because sometimes one conversation changes someone's entire life. Not through advice, but through presence, through understanding, through making someone feel seen. That's leadership. And maybe the greatest leaders in history understood something simple. People don't follow perfection. They follow belief. Belief gives people courage. Belief creates hope. Belief helps people survive difficult seasons. And hope, not blind optimism, not pretending everything is easy. Real hope. The kind that whispers, this pain means something. You're becoming someone stronger. Keep going. Even when life feels uncertain. Especially then. Because uncertainty is part of the game. Nobody knows exactly where life is going. Nobody has complete certainty. Even the people who look confident, even the people you admire, they're figuring it out too. The difference is, some people stop waiting to feel ready. They choose meaning anyway, they choose growth anyway, they choose courage anyway. Not because fear disappears, because something becomes more important than fear: purpose. And maybe that's the question worth asking yourself today. What game are you actually playing? Not the one society handed you. Not the one fear created, not the one comparison demands. Your game, the one aligned with your values, your truth, your meaning. Because life changes when you stop chasing someone else's definition of success. Life changes when you stop performing, when you stop pretending, when you stop proving, and start building something real, something meaningful, something deeply yours. You may not have all the answers. That's okay. Most people don't. You may still feel afraid. That's human. You may still feel uncertain. That's growth. But maybe clarity doesn't come before movement. Maybe clarity comes from movement, from trying, failing, learning, adjusting, growing, and slowly becoming someone wiser, someone calmer, someone stronger. Not because life became easier, because you finally understood the game. And once you understand the game, everything changes. You stop chasing empty victories. You stop measuring yourself against strangers. You stop living for applause. And you start asking better questions. Who am I becoming? What kind of life actually matters to me? How do I help people feel safer, stronger, more human? Because in the end, people won't remember your titles. They won't remember your status. They won't remember how important you looked. They'll remember how you made them feel. Whether they felt safe with you. Whether they felt seen by you. Whether your presence made life feel lighter. That is leadership. Quiet, human, powerful. And maybe the real victory in life is not becoming important. Maybe it's becoming someone who mattered. So before you chase the next achievement, before you climb another mountain, pause long enough to ask yourself one question. Do I even know the game I'm in? Because the answer to that question might change everything. And if this message found you at the right moment in your life, maybe that's not an accident, maybe it's time. Time to stop performing, time to stop surviving, time to stop chasing things that leave you empty, and time to start building a life that actually means something. Quietly, patiently, one honest step at a time. Because the world does not need more people pretending to lead. It needs more humans brave enough to care. And maybe that person could be you.